Welcome back, everybody. This is Mog on Mog Squad playing some more Kerbal Space Program with you folks today. Today we're launching up a new ship, and we're just going to go ahead and get into launch right away. We're launching up a new ship, sorry about that, a little loud. Launching up a new ship that's actually going to be delivering a small one-man rover to the surface of Duna. This will be the first thing that we're actually going to be descending into the atmosphere on Duna. So we're going to tilt over just a hair so that we're not dropping our tanks right on the space center. But yeah, so this is kind of a first for actual recorded for me. I haven't done a mission with Rover out to another planet at least previously, especially one with an atmosphere like Duna. So this is a bit tricky. I'll show you a bit more about the craft once we get it up into orbit, but I did want to just get going here so that you know, we're not wasting too much time, because I do know that these do take a little while sometimes. The launches and all that crap, it definitely can take up some time. But yeah, so we're getting going. We're definitely picking up a lot of speed. This thing is a lot lighter than most of my other craft that I've been launching up lately. It's about 2/3, I think, the payload weight of the station that we launched up. That's including like its landing stage and everything. But yeah, oops, there we go. We're losing some speed. We are getting close up to the 10 kilometer mark, keeping our speed kind of sort of close to 200 meters a second. We can actually go faster than that now. The terminal velocity has passed the 200 mark a little before the 10K mark. So it's not a bad idea too, but yeah, so we're just going to get going. We're tilting over to our 45-ish. I do like to sit around 50 because at 50 it places the prograde marker down here on the nav ball at about the 45. Since gravity is kind of pulling you back down, aiming just above where it's actually sitting, or where you actually want it to sit, seems to work pretty well. I don't know if that actually ends up being beneficial or not, but it's kind of how I've always done it, and it seems to work. But yeah, for serious, thanks for coming by again, guys, and checking out the new season. Definitely appreciate the views and the likes and all that. Kind of nice to actually see some interaction with folks, so thank you. We're going to be getting up, since I did get the new version up and installed and running and everything, we are going to be basically getting some new subscriber knots. I've actually already replaced most of the guys who were in the first season, because I did upgrade to the new 0.21 version of KSP, which had, oops, gotta continue our tilt over and go down to about the 90 degree and push out our orbit and start getting that orbital velocity going. But yeah, with the new astronaut complex that you can actually well, you can't really train yet. Basically all you do is you scroll through a list currently and select the Kerbals you want to hire. But it's pretty darn easy to add names to that list or replace current names in that list. So I'll be definitely doing some more things to get some more subscribers out there. In fact, first person to comment on this video gets a Kerbal named after them, or whatever they would like named it to be. And that would have to be approved. Nothing like too dirty or racy or whatever, because I do want to kind of keep this somewhat clean. I know I've cussed a few times on the camera or on the recording, but you know, whatever. I do try. So yeah, first person to suggest or to comment on this video, and who is also a subscriber, will get the opportunity to name a Kerbal in this season. So watch out for that. And I'm sure you guys will see that Kerbal pretty quick here. Maybe not next episode, because I do tend to record these in packs of 2 and then edit them. So basically, you might comment on this before it's even posted or whatever, or before the second one's even posted. But I probably had already recorded it. So we're getting up into orbit. We've got a pretty good apo-apps so far. So we're gonna go ahead and just set up our node just to know that we to get our time framing on when we need to burn. Let's see. So 100, 106, good enough. It looks like it needs an estimated 25-second burn. That's totally fine. We got that. No problem at all. I didn't even need to use the monopropellant I tossed on this one this time. If you had been watching previous episodes of this, you probably noticed I didn't have any monopropellant, which would have helped. But, you know, whatever. It's all good. So we're going to go ahead and time warp up to our burn point, which will be at about 12, 13 seconds. In fact, I'm just going to do it now. It's not a big deal. Burning. And burning. But yeah, so once we get this orbit complete, I'll actually do just a quick round over the, well, camera view around this, and actually kind of show you what the rover has and what it's going to be able to do, and how its stages are going to function. So we did that. We are down to our transit stage, which has more than enough delta V to finish up our orbit and get us out to Duna. That shouldn't be a problem at all. Thank God for nuclear engines, right? This thing, this stage by default has about 3,600 delta V, a little over 3,600 delta V. So it is definitely a handy little stage for pushing about between, up to 30 ton payload here, roughly. This I think is only like 10, like a 10 roughly. Well, actually no, with this stage right above this, it's more like a 20 ton payload on top of this interstellar stage. So it looks like we have our orbit perfectly fine. So let's take a quick peek at this, shall we? Let's unlock that camera a bit. So, oh, go away. Stop rotating those wings and everything. As you can see, it's just a tiny little rover, got a little exposed seat up here, no Kerbal in it currently. It is run by this probe body right underneath it, and the solar panels provide power to the batteries. So that's how this thing is going to run. It's got the poppable wheels here. I tried to put on those newer ones, but they were actually a lot bigger than this body, so I would have had to make a bigger unit. And I didn't want to do anything too crazy on our rover just yet, because rovers are notorious for being unbalanced, which makes landing in an atmosphere, especially landing with parachutes, kind of tricky, because you got your rockets to assist in Duna's thin atmosphere, because parachutes alone won't do the trick unless you got like a bunch. But yeah, so an unbalanced craft can be very detrimental. But it's got these landing legs here that are going to come down. Oh, don't break those. Okay, cool. Thank God it didn't break those wings. But yeah, those are going to come down, and that's going to land. These rockets are part of that same stage as well, and they are going to assist in the landing. The parachutes are right here between the wheels and along the back and front. So 4 parachutes right there, and it should be balanced so that this should always be on the top side, and well, this will always be facing up because the center of mass will be lower than the parachutes. So hopefully they shouldn't get pulled underneath and flip the craft around, because I've had that happen before too. But let's take a look here. We've taken a look at the ship, so let's see where we are in our orbit. Oh, you like that, by the way? The little, my probes here around Kerbal. I kind of set them up in kind of a cool pattern. I thought I liked it. But let's see. Target Duna. And, oh, I forgot. I had aligned this so that it was in a decent little bit early angle for Duna previous to launch, and then I had something screw up on launch. So, you know what? I will be right back, guys. We will get this all fixed and ready. Okay, guys, we are back, and we do have it all set up now. We've got Duna in the right phase angle. We have a node all set up to actually get an encounter. So we need about 1,150 meters per second delta V, and our burn is going to be in about 8 minutes and 12 seconds. Now, to get that much delta V, I did have to, before I say that, I did have to reload, so I don't have my engine specs all set up, so it doesn't know exactly how much it's going to take just yet. So let's run these engines for a minute. Looks like about 4 minutes is what it's asking for, 4.5 minutes. So we need to start our burn in about 2 minutes 15 seconds. So we're going to go ahead, get lined up on this node, and then we're just going to fast forward over to the burn point. So let's see. 6, 5, 4, 3. Slow it down a little bit so we don't skip over it. And we're just going to go ahead and start burning right here. And we zoom back in. How are we looking? We're definitely starting to push out that that apoapse. It's going to take a little bit of time. And I did go up to 150 altitude, 150 kilometer altitude, so that I would have a bit of leeway, because with these engines you have to run them so long that it actually changes your trajectory in closer to the planet and then pushes you back out. Because, yeah, it just takes so long. You have to angle, you have to start so early that you're still pretty much facing the planet when you start these burns with a nuke engine. Don't be too alarmed. It actually works out. They don't push fast enough to actually get too crazy on you. But as you can see, like it's dropping. Like I'm down to 138-ish kilometers instead of about closer to 150 where I was. But that's fine. So we're just gonna go ahead and we're gonna physical time warp up this. So that doesn't take too long, huh? Yes, 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 of course. Thank you. So we're on 3 times time warp here. And this can get a little tricky. You can see the ship vibrating quite a bit. So I'm going to turn that back down to 2. That's probably not a good thing when your ship is going a little crazy while you're trying to burn accurately, huh? So we're about halfway through our burn, roughly. A little under. I'm going to slow it down because we're still about 20 seconds out from the node. So we can just turn that down just a bit before. I think we've just passed. Well, actually, we passed it just a little bit ago, actually, for our middle burn. The midpoint of our burn, the exact time frame where we were hitting that node. So let's kick that. We kick that back up to full throttle. We got about 500 more delta V to burn off before we should make our encounter. I'm going to zoom out and take a look at our projected path, our trajectory. So we should get an encounter at about 20 million kilometers out from Duna. It'll be a sphere of influence capture, so that's fine. But we're definitely going to want to shorten that up. That's not going to be where we want to end. So we're getting there. We haven't seen our trajectory pop out of Kerbin's sphere of influence just yet, but it should be any second now. Go on. Okay, we're passing Minmus, and here we go. There it is. So we got about 100 delta V left to burn. So if that gives you any idea, that's about how much it takes to get out of Kerbin's sphere of influence. Is a lot. And then after that, the actual transfer amount is pretty minimal in comparison. But every little bit helps right here. So I'm going to turn down that time warp to nothing. And I'm going to kick this up just a hair again. So we should be able to push this out a little more and actually get that encounter, because we don't have it right now. There it is. Perfect. Okay, so we have our encounter. And with that, I'm not going to touch anything else. I'm just going to let it do its thing. So let's go ahead and we're going to time warp out to Duna and then take care of things there. We might adjust, you know, inclination, but I think we're sitting pretty good, actually. Can we not target Duna currently? Is it bugging? It's a little buggy. Okay, fair enough. Let's go. Space view! Dun 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 dun, breaking into different sphere of influence. And of course, this is gonna freak out. Delete on close, away with you. Okay, so we are in our sphere of influence with Kerbal, the sun, flying out. Oh, look at that, we got a periaps of 13 mil instead of 20. Let's target Duna. How are we looking? 0.1, that's fine. I'm gonna just leave it because we don't need to really adjust that. That's perfectly fine. But yes, as you can see, there goes Kerbin, way out of our view now. And here comes Duna. Just skipping right across. Just doop 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 doop. And we're gonna get a collision. Well, not a collision. We're gonna get an encounter with Duna up here pretty quick in about 28 days is what it says. So if that gives you any indication how long we've already traveled, it's a ways. To get out to another planet, it's a long ways with the current technology that we have. We have no crew. Coming up pretty quick here, and we have about... We actually have a 2-day window, or no, a 1-day window to make this burn. A little under a 1-day window, a little over a 1-day window to correct this burn and get captured by Duna. So zipping on in, and here comes our sphere change. Thank you. Let's turn that back up just a hair so we can actually hit that. Come on, there we go. And we actually are circling in the right orientation for the most part, but we are very, well, not a whole lot in comparison. In the overall scheme of things, we're actually pretty well aligned, but now that we're in close, we're going to be on a pretty big difference. We're going to be doing a big loop upwards, so we're not going to be on the equator, so we'll have to correct for that. But that's fine. We can drop into a 2 mil periaps there, which will actually be... Or I'm going to shorten that a bit too. Get it under 1 mil. So 800 and some odd periaps. for the time being, and then we'll shorten that up. So where is our node? Nodey, 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 node. There it is. Okay, so let's fast forward to this. We need about 3 minutes of burn, 900 delta V, a little over 900 delta V. And that's going to be in about 12 hours, so let's go ahead and get that fixed, shall we? Slow it on down. And we're going to come in here pretty good. Now, I haven't tested this craft previously to this, so I'm hoping that the parachutes and all that stuff should work. This is all theoretical. Start that burn. I still think we were a little early on that burn, but that's fine. Not a big deal. Okay, yeah, definitely a little early, so we're okay. I almost shot right past that again. I really should be using the alarm clock that I got for this. Delete that. Delete that. I guess, never mind, who wants to keep it? Okay, so guys, once we get this capture all finished, well, I'll come back to you then. I don't want to make you sit through all this boring stuff, so we'll be back as we get into a close orbit around Duna and then get ready to land. See you soon. Okay, everybody, so we are back. We are in a pretty tight, little over 200-kilometer orbit around Duna, and we are getting ready to do our descend, well, we are getting ready to descend. So, what we're going to be doing is I've got it planned for when we swing back around the darker side of the moon. We're gonna burn and try to aim kind of closer to the end of this light area here. So that way we're not like fading into darkness as the planet turns or nothing, but it should be enough to get us a good lit landing with enough sunshine to refill our probe batteries if need be. Now this is going to be the first thing that we're going to be landing on the surface of Duna, just a little rover. So it's going to pretty much serve as a marker for any other landing parties or any other landing things that we're going to be doing, unless we want to explore other sections. Like I kind of want to do one of the poles maybe, but we'll see. Initially, we just got to get something down on the surface and make sure that our theories are correct about what we kind of need roughly to actually do so. So let's go ahead and get going. We are going to deposit our interstellar stage onto the surface of Duna. We're going to let that thing get destroyed. At least that's the idea. So we got about a 15-second burn, only needs about 90 meters per second to drop out of orbit and down to deep enough into the atmosphere that it should stop us. About 17 kilometers off the surface is where I've got our periap set. Should be just fine, I would think. It does have an atmosphere. It is lower than Kerbin's because it's not as thick. So that is one thing to keep in mind. And it will not slow you on a single parachute for a capsule. That capsule will still be going close to... Well, it'll probably break if it tries to land on Duna without a proper powered descent. Unless you gotta... I mean, unless you get lucky. I can't speak for everybody. Sometimes you just get lucky. So we need about 15 seconds. We're going to start at about T-minus 10. I know that's a little over, but, you know, better safe than sorry. A little early on. So there we go. Just as the sun starts peeking around, well, just as Kerbal starts peeking around Duna. Kind of cool, huh? I really do like this interplanetary stage. It works really dang well. Like it's got so much delta V for such a small, light unit. I say light, but that's not always the case. It's a pretty heavy thing. It's meant for doing heavier payloads, obviously. Like, you could get a probe out here without something like this easily. So, okay, we have got it set up, and we're going to start descending. I've actually burnt it a little bit lower than I meant, but that's fine. Because, as we start getting closer, I'm going to drop our tanks, and they're just going to slam into the surface and break. So, quick cleanup. Don't have to worry about leaving anything in orbit. So, okay, dropping down, we are below 100,000, getting closer into, there goes the station, the Mars station. The God of War, or wait, the Roman God of War, I think. Mars? Does that make sense? I think it is. Oh, look at that effect off the atmosphere. Getting all lit up. That's kind of cool. Anywho's, okay. So we're dropping down. We're at about 40,000 off the surface. I'm going to change my camera angle because that's annoying. Is it on auto? Ugh. It's not a great angle. We'll go free for now, huh? That's better. Actually get a decent orientation on this view. Okay, so we're so low that we can't even do the major time warp. We have to do physical time warp if we want it. So with that, we are actually I'm gonna flip around and kick out our interplanetary stage so we kind of get ready. and then we'll have our single stage here that actually was meant to help us descend into Atmo if we didn't have enough in our interplanetary stage. But you know, whatever. There that goes. So here's our little stage. This was meant to be our actual dropping stage onto the surface, and this was going to get kicked out. And then we even have another stage on top of that to actually assist in landing. So I came prepared. I came prepared for contingencies if I needed to make corrections. So there goes that thing, just floating away. Floaty, floaty, floats. Oh, there we go. Now it's firing. I guess I didn't have my staging set up perfectly. That's okay. It's just doing a light burn. Just getting some things set up. I kind of want to let this thing pass us by. There it goes. That's perfect. I didn't want that to be behind us with a chance to come down on top of us. So with that, I'm actually going to go ahead and get ready for our parachutes to launch, because they were a stage up. I would have had to kick this off first and then kick them into place, but I think I just want to keep it, let the parachutes do what they're going to do. I'm going to drop this before they deploy so that they don't just get ripped off. That wouldn't be good at all. That would be the end of our mission, probably, almost certainly. So we're at about 20k down. I'm going to keep the brakes on, that's fine. I didn't put any lights on this thing, any landing lights. Gosh, I say I come prepared, but I always forget these little things. Then again, that's kind of why we're landing on the lit side of the planet currently. There's the sun, the sun. Oh, you know what I actually do want? I want this, and not this. No wait, not this. This will give us our true altitude and our surface speed, which should match this, but that's fine. This is so because we're not going to be landing at sea level, so I need something that'll actually give us an accurate altitude. So let's see. This thing actually does have a lot of delta V rate inside this. I'm going to pull up that window while we have time anyway. Got about 700. No. Yes. Yeah, got about 700, and then the other stage has got about a little over twice that, because it's got the smaller rockets. Yeah, well, it's pushing less weight. That's why, not smaller rockets. Blarg. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and call it. We're gonna land pretty much right here. I think it's gonna be the idea. So we're slowing ourselves down. At this point, we're not losing too much ground. We're just basically cushioning our descent. So there we go. That's probably good. And detach that, I think. Oh, what did I do that for? That's fine. Okay. Oh, that was, hopefully that'll be just fine. I don't think that's gonna slam into us. Whew. That could have been bad. I hit the shift button just before I ejected the stage, so it kept its rockets on. Whew. That could have been very bad. Hopefully that thing doesn't come back at us, but I think we'll be alright. It's definitely moved a good distance away, and it is still moving. And it was almost out of fuel anyway, so there goes our parachutes. I'm going to go ahead and detach or deploy our landing legs. And we're just going to let this thing kind of do its thing. Shut off the kill rotation button so that whoa, we are actually pretty darn close to the surface, only a little under 4 kilometers up. So let's get this thing closer to a straight descent, shall we? And I hope we are still fairly well balanced. Seems like we're not too bad. And with that, I am going to turn back on kill rotation since we're pretty much going straight down now. This should help. Okay. Now I want to keep this thing under 100. I want to keep this thing under 50 meters a second before these parachutes deploy. So that way, I'm hoping they won't rip off. Like, they should be able to handle up to about 100 in normal circumstances, depending on how much weight is actually below them. So I kind of want to burn some of this fuel off and make it easier on these parachutes when they deploy. I don't want them to rip off. We would not be sitting pretty if that were the case. So we're a little over 1.5 kilometers up above the surface and coming down pretty darn quick. So keeping those rockets going a little bit. I don't want to use too much fuel because obviously we're going to need some for the actual powered landing. Okay, under 1 kilometer now. And we are looking good. at about 30 kilometers per second, which is actually pretty quick, but in the overall scheme of things, not so bad. There they go, they've deployed. So let's see what they'll get us down to. Drop in, we're at about 16 meters a second with the parachutes deployed, and they are holding just fine. So we're looking like we're gonna be just fine. We're landing in the middle of this big open flat valley, so that's awesome. 15, we're at about 170, 150 meters off the surface. So let's get slowing us down. We want to be at least under 10. I would prefer to be under 5 meters a second when we touch down, that is. So speaking of, well, landings, I'm going to, with a couple of friends and my girlfriend, we're going to, oh, there it is. Perfect, look at that. We are nicely landed. And we are going to go ahead and deploy the antenna so that they have a signal on us from the orbit. I'm not going to detach this and set it up to be all finished just yet, because we're going to wait for a Kerbal to get here before deploying this unit. So shutting down all the engines and all that, getting all ready. But for now, I'm going to let you guys go, and we'll talk to you next time. Cheers.